Hey guys, Codisius here, bringing another DomiNations video. This video is part 2 of our Wonders Ranking mini-series. We are going to review the remaining wonders from Gunpowder and Industrial Age. Remember, these are all my opinions, and every wonder does have its own personal use. So we're going to start things off with one of my favorites for the Gunpowder, and that's going to be Versailles. Versailles slows down nearby invading armies and provides a health bonus to your ground troops. It starts out with 3,900 hit points, so that's very respectable. Plus 10% to your troop health, so that's the guys spawning out of your garrisons, your stables, etc., etc. Slowdown amount of plus 40% that's pretty good. Now, the one downfall in my opinion to Versailles is that it only has a 4 square radius. As you can see, it's not really that big. But if you combo it well and you use it right, like for instance right here, I have a barbed wire. Barbed wire does a slowdown of 45%. So comboing that with Versailles, you're looking at a 95 or an 85 to 90% decrease in movement speed of enemy troops. That is huge. That means that they're going to be standing at that gate knocking for days, but no one's letting them in. And instead your mortars are just raining hell down on them. So in my opinion, Versailles is one of the best for the Gunpowder Age. We're going to go ahead and jump into the next one. The next one is going to be the Temple of Tikal. Temple of Tikal increases trade good capacity and refunds some of the resources stolen by opponents. Now it increases your trade good capacity of plus 2 and resources refund plus 3. Temple of Tikal does have a little bit going for it in the fact that it gives you plus 2 to the trade goods, but in my opinion the resources refunded of 3% really isn't that effective to me. And that's why it doesn't really make the top in my opinion, because other than the trade good capacity, 3% really just isn't that much in my opinion. So Temple of Tikal just doesn't really make the top tier cut. There's not really much else to say about Temple of Tikal. It just kind of does what it says. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the next one. And the next one we're going to look at is Angkor Wat. Now Angkor Wat, when defending, heals nearby defenders. Once a day you may collect a bonus trade good. Bonus trade goods per day of plus 5. So that's your diamonds, your leather, your wines, etc., etc. The big thing that makes Angkor Wat good is the healing. I mean, it has a battle pulse every 2 seconds. It's going to heal your guys for 672. That's huge. Now the downfall to Angkor Wat is once it's destroyed in battle, it does no longer produce the healing factor. But that's not enough, in my opinion, really to discredit it, because well, that's most of the wonders. Once you destroy them, if they're defensive things, then their passives go away. So Angkor Wat is really up there, and it's really in the top as far as Gunpowder Age goes, in my opinion. Like I said, there's not really too much you can really say bad about Angkor Wat. I'm not really sure on its range right now, but still, I mean, the fact that it pulses and heals is pretty good. Now, the last we're going to talk about for the Gunpowder Age is Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal increases loot stolen from attacks, and you can hire a free mercenary once a day. Now, on paper, Taj Mahal sounds good, but increased loot stolen of 2% really isn't all that effective, in my opinion. Now, I don't know what it actually gets up to, but I'm going based off of you as if you are starting out and you're picking these wonders. Plus 2% to me just isn't enough to make me consider this one of the top ones. Now, the plus 1 bonus mercenary sounds great. But whenever you actually break it down and you think about it, plus 1 mercenary, well, that could be anything from the Jagapanzer tank or the Greek spearman. And at my age, we all know that is next to useless. So you're really kind of gambling there, and that's why Taj Mahal, in my opinion, really doesn't make it that far up the list. Now, as a quick recap of best to worst, in my opinion, number 1 is going to be, and it's a tough pick, it's real close, but Versailles, just because it keeps people out of your cities. And, the longer they stand at the gate and the more damage they take, in my opinion, that's just better. So that's what makes Versailles take the top. Now, number 2, in my opinion, is going to be Angkor Wat. So the reason Angkor Wat doesn't beat out Versailles is, yes, it heals, but it doesn't do anything to really slow or hinder the advancement of the enemy troops. Yes, it heals your men, but that only goes so far, and once it's destroyed, as we said, it doesn't really have its abilities anymore pulsing on the battlefield. But don't discredit Angkor Wat by any means. It just, in my opinion, Versailles is just a tad bit better. Now, that's just not to say that it blows it out of the water or anything, but I feel it goes a little further. Number 3, in my opinion, is going to be Temple of Tikal. Temple of Tikal, the resources refunded is okay, but I think what makes Temple of Tikal beat out the last one on our list is that it gives you plus 2 to your trade good. That's pretty nice. But beyond that, Temple of Tikal really doesn't have enough going for it to be a top tier selection in my opinion. Now, last and very much least in my opinion is Taj Mahal. The reason Taj Mahal just bites the bullet in the end of this is the fact that plus 2% really isn't that effective in my opinion, and the fact that you don't get to pick that mercenary and that it's a random generated mercenary just isn't worth picking as a wonder in my opinion, because like I said, what happens if you end up with like that, that tier 1 mercenary, but your mercenary camp's at like level 5 and you're in the industrial age, but you really need it, and you get a like Greek spearman. Like, what is that gonna do at your level? So the gamble just isn't worth the gain in my opinion, and that is why Taj Mahal takes the bottom in my opinion. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump right into what my opinion of the industrial age wonders are. And we're gonna start things off with my personal favorite now, and that's going to be the Brandenburg Gate. Brandenburg Gate provides the blitzkrieg power in combat once a day. Disabling defender-producing buildings increases attack damage of factory units. Now, it has low hit points of only 7 to 80, but don't discredit it. That's not really what you need it for. It's just a building at that point. But what you're using it for is the plus 20% to factory troop damage and that huge bonus of the blitzkrieg power that you get to use once a day. That is huge. You're talking it has a 10 square radius. Now, as a comparison, the Acropolis has a 8 space radius. Now you can add 2 to that. Now if you look at my base, if you were actually to attack my base and you drop the blitzkrieg power on my base, you would literally shut every unit producing building down that I have for 14 seconds. That is huge. It's a passive. It's not even counted as a war tactic. So Brandenburg Gate is a great wonder, and I would not discredit it in my choosing of which wonder I'm going to pick up in the industrial age. Now, next up on the list, who in my opinion is another great one, is going to be the Kremlin. Now, the Kremlin increases health of nearby walls. Defenders will spawn from any of your farms destroyed in battle. So your walls get a plus 20% bonus and a partisan plus 2. Now, Kremlin is great, and I was actually considered the Kremlin before I finally, broke down and said, no, I'm going to go with the Brandenburg Gate. It's a tough pick, but just I feel like in war, that's why I chose the Brandenburg Gate over the Kremlin. But don't discredit the Kremlin, because that plus 20% wall health is huge. Plus 2 to your partisan defenders. I mean, let's look at my walls right now. Right now, my highest level wall is level 9. I'm working on them. Takes time. But right now, they sit around 18,612. So you're roughly adding about almost another 2K to that. So you're sitting then roughly at about 20,000 on your hill. Or my apologies, right around 4. Yeah, I guess that's right around 4K to it. So it'd be about 22,000. Sorry. And for that, that's what makes the Kremlin a great choice and wonders. And like I said, don't discredit it just because my opinion was the Brandenburg Gate. If it doesn't fit your playstyle, then don't pick the Brandenburg Gate. Again, these are all opinions. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the next one on the list. And the next one that we're going to talk about is actually going to be the Statue of Liberty. Now, the Statue of Liberty grants bonus oil once per day and increases attack damage of air units. Now, its hit points is 780, but bonus oil per day is plus 250. And airplane damage boost plus 20%. Now, I know people are going to quote me on this. I've already seen a few comments down below that people don't agree with it. But still, in my opinion, airplanes are great. And the Zeppelin is wonderful. But right now, I just don't feel that in my age, and that's not to say that in the global age, but clearly I'm not there, okay? So this is opinions. But in my opinion, right now, the Statue of Liberty does not offer enough. Plus 20% to my planes and my Zeppelin. Like, woo, that's not enough for me to pick a wonder. And 250 in oil a day really isn't enough for me, because then that comes out to 1,000 every 4 days, and I can get that in less than an attack. So it's not really as effective as it sounds. Last but not least, the last one we're going to talk about is going to be the Eiffel Tower. I love the music to go along with each individual. It's really nice. The Eiffel Tower provides a peace treaty once a week. It increases vault food and gold storage by a large amount. Hit points 780. Vault bonus food and gold storage plus 200,000. And the peace treaty of 12 hours and a cooldown of 7 days on that. Now, the Eiffel Tower kind of speaks for itself. I mean, your vault gets a plus 200,000 to it. That's respectable. I mean, because right now, I think mine just actually finished up. Yes, it did. So now the vault capacity is, I think mine's up to 600,000 right now. Let's see if I pull it out. Let's Save Vault, withdraw. Yeah, I can deposit 600K. So the fact that I can do that, adding another 200,000 to it, is going to put that up to 800,000. And the 800,000, I mean, that's pretty solid. I mean, you're talking putting 800,000 resource away for that next big upgrade you're going for. An Eiffel Tower is a very respectable pick. I don't know if it's the best one in the Industrial Age, but it's definitely not the worst. So it's a different, like I said, it comes down to your opinion and what your playstyle is, and I would not discredit the Eiffel Tower as an option. Now, like I said, I would not discredit the Eiffel Tower as a choice because, well, it is still effective. It's not a terrible pick. So just as a quick recap, we are going to do a quick recap on what I think is best to worst for the Industrial Age wonders. Now, number one, in my opinion, is going to be the Brandenburg Gate, but not by a landslide, because the Kremlin is right behind it. But as far as war goes, I feel the Brandenburg Gate is a better choice. The reason being is you shut down all those unit-producing buildings. That is huge. I don't know how many times I've been doing a war attack, and I just wish, God, I wish I could have hit that bunker, or I wish I could have hit that garrison. But, well, with the Blitzkrieg power, you hit all of that. So, in my opinion, Brandenburg Gate is just so much bang for your buck. I mean, yeah, it's once a day, but shit, in war, man, that once a day can be the difference between a 4 and a 5-star, and to me, that is enough for me to pick the Brandenburg Gate. Number two, it's a close, but not, you know, it's not a beatdown, but number two is going to be the Kremlin. The reason the Kremlin is number two is because that wall health is pretty gnarly, plus 20%. I mean, you're talking between 3,000 and 4,000 extra health on your walls. And the Kremlin has a range of 10 tiles, so that's just as big as the Brandenburg Gate. And like I said, it's a close call for 1 and 2, and anyone could argue me on it, and feel free to. Number three, in my opinion, is going to be the Eiffel Tower. The reason the Eiffel Tower takes number three is because that plus 200,000 to vault is definitely considerable. I kind of overlook the peace treaty just because, hell, I never used them. I'm never inactive enough long enough to really benefit from that. So to me, it's not as effective, but that might not mean it's to you. It's just different play styles, different people. But the plus 200,000 is what makes the Eiffel Tower number three. And last but definitely least, in my opinion, as of right now, as the meta is going with the game, is going to be the Statue of Liberty. Plus 250%, plus 250 oil a day, woo, plus 20% damage, just not enough in my opinion. So that's why Statue of Liberty is going to take last. Well, that about wraps it up for this video. Remember to like and subscribe for questions, comments, or advice. Comment below. This has been Codisius. Until next time, see ya.